USC football can't be stopped. We'll show you why they've been so successful.
The Pack is back. Just as the conference is dissolving, they are dominating the college football rankings.
And USC's other teams are in full swing. How have their seasons been shaping up? All this next on Sports Scene.
To the first episode of Sports Scene this semester. I'm Pickle Coleman.
I'm Scott Hills.
And I'm Kasey Kazliner. It's September, which means the college football season is underway. The Trojans have started their season 3-0. Their hot start and reigning Heisman quarterback earned them a number 5 ranking in the recent AP poll. Through their first 3 games, the Trojans are averaging 59 points per game, which is the second most in all of college football. In the Week 0 opener, USC's offense shined, but there were still some questions about the Trojan defense. Defensive improvements and offensive spectacles lifted the Trojans past Nevada and Stanford, bringing us to today. Stanford didn't score a touchdown until the 4th quarter. Head coach Lincoln Riley is impressed with his team so far.
Got some skill guys out there that we think are good players, and we tried to be efficient. We were able to get the run game going. I thought the O-line really offensively really controlled the game in the first half, and that was the key.
3 Trojans have clearly come out the gates strong on the offensive side of the ball, thanks to key performances at quarterback, running back, and wide receiver positions. The Heisman winner Caleb Williams has looked unstoppable in his first 3 games. He's yet to play an entire game, yet he leads all college quarterbacks with 12 passing touchdowns. Whenever number 13 is on the field, USC's chances of scoring are incredibly high.
But Caleb couldn't do it without his receivers. Coming off an impressive season last year, redshirt senior Taj Washington is making his mark for the Trojans. This season, he's already caught 3 touchdowns, and he leads the team in receiving yards with 233. He caught a 76-yard touchdown against Nevada.
Marshawn Lloyd, who transferred from South Carolina, has been an integral part of USC's offense thus far. He rushed for 2 touchdowns through 3 games, and he averages 65 yards per game. With Caleb throwing and Lloyd running, the Trojan offense has looked unbeatable. Arguably, the most exciting part of this team is the offense led by these 3 strong players. As USC looks ahead to opponents like Colorado and Oregon with strong offenses as well, what do they need to do to continue to generate offense against aggressive teams?
I think we absolutely need to keep players like Zachariah Branch solid, healthy, and keep pushing with this offense that's looking great so far.
The Trojans need to definitely take advantage of the receiver and running back depth they have on the team. In the Nevada game, 14 different receivers caught a ball. I think they got to keep that up and keep the offense going.
I definitely agree. This O-line looks strong. You can tell they've been working hard in the offseason and preseason. It's all about continuing to protect these key offensive players like Taj Washington, Marshawn Lloyd that we've talked about, and just keeping them healthy to lead them to success throughout the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
While USC's offense has been lightning hot, some still have questions about the defense. Let's take it to Will Camardella to break down the Trojan D.
Through 3 games, USC's offense has picked up right where it left off a year ago. But if the Trojans want to take the next step, it'll have to be through improvement on the defensive side of the ball. Alex Grinch's unit showed some major strides towards doing just that on Saturday night. The 10 points USC allowed were its fewest given up in a game in the Lincoln Riley era. In the first half, when the full starting units were in the game, Stanford mustered just 1 field goal drive. The front 7 stood out as the defense racked up a whopping 9 tackles for loss. The team also forced 3 Cardinal turnovers. All this was done without starting linebacker Mason Cobb, one of the team's best tacklers. Let's highlight a few key plays from this game to show just how disruptive this group has been. So we're on the first drive of the game here. Their starting quarterback, Aston Daniels, going to run a play-action pass, and he hasn't even gotten back into his drop back before Bear Alexander slips between the center and the right guard to get pressure. Now he has to force the ball to his running back, E.J. Smith. He's not even looking back at the ball. It's so early, but guess who is? Max Williams. He gets the interception, and there's going to be a long return here to set up this potent offense with very strong field position. Second play we're going to look at, the pressure is going to come from the edge. Look at Solomon Byrd here blowing the Stanford left tackle off the ball on first contact. Gets the pressure again, and another forced throw to a security blanket at tight end. Kalen Bullock is all over him. This is not an interception, but it should have been, as you can see his reaction there. Now this play I love just because of the motor it shows from the USC defense. Look at Jameel Muhammad here. He's 4 yards behind the quarterback, and look at how quickly he catches up. He's not even aware there's pressure behind him, and the result is pretty predictable. Out comes the football. It's a strip sack, and Tackett Curtis, the true freshman linebacker, able to get the recovery after getting ejected a week ago. So disrupting the quarterback is going to continue to be a huge point of emphasis for USC as they go on to face the likes of Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Cam Rising, and Shadur Sanders. So let's send it back to the desk for more on these Trojans conference foes.
This year, the Pac is stacked. Just as the conference is dissolving, the Pac-12 looks to be one of the most competitive conferences in the country right now. In fact, 8 of the conference's 12 teams are currently ranked in the top 25. This year, the conference holds some of the country's brightest quarterbacks. From Caleb Williams to new Heisman contender Shadur Sanders, the Pac-12 is generating some legit offense. Leading the pack is USC and Washington. The Huskies took 2 heavy-handed wins over Boise State and Tulsa. Utah has been without Cam Rising for their past 2 games, but that has not stopped them from sailing to 2-0 with 2 big-time wins over Florida and Baylor. The Oregon Ducks are picking up right where they left off, with returning quarterback Bo Nix at the helm. Unexpected to some and not to others is Oregon State, who is led by veteran DJ Uiagalelei. Colorado is climbing the rankings with a big rivalry win over Nebraska. Upsetting Wisconsin this weekend, Washington State made their way into the rankings as well. Just edging their way in is UCLA, who is still trying to figure out their team identity under head coach Chip Kelly. Right now, the Pac-12 looks like one of the strongest conferences in the country. Are you guys surprised? Is this disappointing because after this year, the Pac-12 will be dissolved?
Absolutely. I mean, I think really they're just trying to go out strong at this point, trying to finish this one last year of the Pac-12 with one final blow to the other conferences and hopefully make their way into the college football playoff. I'm excited.
Yes, I definitely agree. It's great to see us ending on such a strong note. Definitely sad to kind of mourn the loss of the Pac-12, but definitely some strength will be brought into the Big Ten and the other conferences.
Yeah, I think if anything, this makes it more exciting. You know, we got teams going to the Big Ten, the ACC next year, and now that they're fostering this talent, it'll surely be exciting to see how college football plays out in the seasons to come. We are now taking it to Drake and Will, who are ready to share their thoughts on USC's toughest upcoming Pac-12 opponents.
Well, USC certainly has some tough opponents down the stretch. Will, who do you think the toughest task is for the Trojans?
I'm looking at the Oregon Ducks. They just got a big win on the road at Texas Tech. That was a sold-out building of 56,000 and nearly 100-degree heat. They went in there and they were basically unfazed. You take a look at what Bo Nix was able to do. Road Bo Nix may have been a truism in the SEC, but it's a myth now. He threw for over 350 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense got 4 turnovers against the Red Raiders. That's a big road win for them, even though Texas Tech is a little bit down. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Bo definitely does flow on the road, but let me introduce you to Washington. They have been phenomenal. They're 8th in the top 25 AP rankings, and they've been led by their quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. He is phenomenal. Top 5 in the country in passing yards. He just has great vision, just like Caleb Williams. Now, I know they haven't played the best schedule, to start off the season, but you could argue that USC hasn't really done the same thing either. So I think that combined with Michael Penix's great field vision and passing, combined with a middle-of-the-road USC defense, I think that Michael Penix is going to have some. He's definitely going to have some answers for USC's defense.
Well, look, Washington's great, but my question is just against what competition? I mean, they had 2 blowout wins against Boise State and Tulsa, not exactly the juggernauts of FBS. Oregon actually got a Power 5 win on the road, and Washington's next game, Michigan State, was supposed to be tough on the road. Not anymore with how in turmoil that franchise is. Another big point on this game, that game is going to be at Autzen Stadium, where Oregon is 22-1 since 2019. USC gets Washington at home.
USC's schedule does get tougher from here. It should be an exciting back half of the season. Back to you all at the desk.
What is women's soccer up to? How was the women's volleyball team home opener? Who is this week's Trojan of the Week? Find out all that and more coming up next.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
2 Trojans made their mark this week in the conference, earning conference honors for their performances. Stay tuned to hear who made their mark in the pack. Welcome back to Sports Scene. The Trojans started their season slow, dropping 4 of their first 5 matches. They've picked up steam lately, though, ripping off 3 wins in a row. The Trojans lost just 1 set in 3 matchups at the Trojan Invitational. Skylar Fields was the standout at the Galen Center, recording 47 kills across the 3 matches. With a career-high 28 on Sunday, she was named the tournament's most outstanding player. The Trojans are now off to Indiana to compete in the Boilermaker Challenge hosted by 17th-ranked Purdue. USC will take on 4-3 Illinois in their first match on Thursday, and then we'll play 5-2 Purdue on Friday. This will be the Trojans' first taste of Big Ten volleyball. Skylar Fields will look to continue to build off the momentum created last weekend to lead her team as they continue their season. From ball in the air to ball on the field, women's soccer is also well underway at USC.
The USC women's soccer team is off to a bit of a roller coaster start with a 3-2 record that includes a win against the number 4 team in the country, Duke, but more recently a loss to unranked Utah Valley. The women of Troy met Utah Valley at home last week, where they fell 3-2 after Faith Weber put up a hat trick for the visiting Wolverines. Standout USC freshman Floriana Jurdy scored a goal early in the second half, which, coupled with a late goal from freshman Maribel Flores, made it a close game, but it wasn't enough for this young USC team to finish out a victory. The women of Troy will begin conference play after a matchup tomorrow with New Mexico State. Head on over to McAllister Field at 3 to watch the Trojans get back on track ahead of Pac-12 competition starting next week.
USC's athletic prowess this week was not ignored by the Conference of Champions. A pair of Trojans across 2 sports were recognized with Pac-12 honors on Monday. True freshman Zachariah Branch has taken the conference by storm, returning a Stanford punt 75 yards to the house for his second career kick return in 3 games. He was named the Pac-12 Special Teams Player of the Week. Skylar Fields also took home hardware this week. She was named Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week for her performance in the Trojan Invitational. Over San Diego put her over the edge, but recording her first double-double of 2023. Fields is no stranger to Pac-12 accolades, as this was the 5th time she's been named Player of the Week. This was Branch's first time winning a conference award and the first Trojan return man to win Special Teams Player of the Week since Michael Pittman.
Each week, a variety of Trojans have standout performances. Drake, Thomas, who are your Trojans of the week?
Welcome to the new segment, Trojans of the Week. Each week we will highlight a Trojan who outperformed and overachieved. So, for me, the desk just talked about Skylar Fields is my pick for the week. 47 kills in the Trojan Invitational, including 28 at San Diego. The sky's the limit for her as the Trojans move down further in the season. She's the linchpin in the Trojan offense. The team's nothing without her.
Yeah, there's no USC volleyball without Skylar Fields, but I want to bring it back to a player that Will Camardella already talked about over at the monitor. Max Williams' interception in that Stanford game is so important for that USC defense. USC was only winning 7-0 at that time. That interception led to that Marshawn Lloyd touchdown that put the Trojans up 14-0. Williams also had a tackle for loss in that game, and so while it's not the most eye-popping performance, that interception, first USC interception this year, and it really kick-started that 56-10 victory over the Cardinal.
Well, Fields takes the podium this week, but tune in next week to see who will spotlight next week. Coming up next, USC alums shine on this big stage. Find out what Trojan alum made headlines this week.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Entering week 1, 26 former USC players held down active roster spots on NFL teams. Will Simons highlights some of the top Trojans to look out for on Sundays this season.
Yeah, last week I wrote about my top 10 USC alumni that I'm excited to watch in the NFL this year. That's the 4th time I've written this column, and now let's dive into my top 3 for 2023. In the top spot, I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. Over the last season and a half, I think St. Brown has been a legit top 10 wideout in the NFL. The former 4th rounder should continue to have a huge target share in the Lions' potent offense. Next, I cheated a little bit for this one. I combined 2 49ers in my second spot. Safety Talanoa Hufanga's elite instincts carried him to All-Pro honors in 2022. And meanwhile, I think edge rusher Drake Jackson is primed for a massive step up in an elite Niners defensive line. And finally, I've got Falcons receiver Drake London. When quarterback Desmond Ridder took over in Atlanta for the last 4 games of last season, London's numbers took a huge leap. With an offseason under their belt, look out for the Falcons' offense in year 2 for this young duo.
So Drake London, 0 catches, unfortunately, in week 1. What went wrong?
Yeah, that's the thing with the Falcons' offense is they want to run the ball. They want to run the ball, and that's fine. But I think as Desmond Ridder gets more reps throughout the rest of the season, I think Arthur Smith's going to have a little bit more faith in Ridder, and with that will come more targets for London.
Right, shifting to the 49ers, held the Steelers' offense to just 7 points. How did they do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased as a Niners fan, but it was really on the backs of those 2 Trojans. Drake Jackson had 3 sacks in the first game, and Talanoa Hufanga had a nice interception off of a tipped pass. Those 2 guys are going to be a really integral part of the 49ers defense that is loaded across the board, let's be honest.
And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, first touchdown of the NFL season. Take us through it.
Yeah, that was really fun to watch. And I mean, like I said, he's been awesome the last year and a half, and I think that's going to continue to happen. I really like what the Lions offense looks like right now, and it's really revolves around Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's going to get the majority of the catches in that offense, and I don't see a reason why he should regress anytime soon.
Absolutely.
A USC alum has been given his chance in the show. Kyle Hurt is now an LA Dodger, and his first appearance was one to be proud of. Hurt came in to pitch 2 relief innings for the Dodgers Tuesday night, with the Dodgers up 11-2. Hurts retired Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, and Manny Machado in the 8th. He struck outside in the 9th, securing the win for his team in his major league debut. He'll be looking to stay on the squad for the playoffs and help the Dodgers make a push with postseason on the horizon. That's all the time we have today on Sports Scene. Remember to tune in next week for all your USC sports news. Have a great rest of your week. Goodbye.